Tonight, we have 8 News reporter Victoria Lucas live in studio with more from a historian and a former photojournalist who captured that scene back in 1982. Vic, what did they tell you?
Eric, Heather, good evening to you. The crash happened on January 13th, 1982. A Florida flight careening into the 14th Street Bridge in Washington, D.C., and then into the Potomac River. For the 2 people I spoke with tonight, this latest tragedy dredges up painful memories from back then.
I remember from the time there was dramatic footage of helicopters going over the Potomac, handing down lines, and there were people floating in the Potomac, very much alive, trying to grasp onto the line.
Dr. Marion Moser-Jones is a historian by profession, but the way she remembers the details of the plane crash on January 13th, 1982, it's as if it was personal.
The most dramatic was there was a woman who had tried to grab onto the helicopter line, and then she let go. I mean, because it was a snowstorm.
This week, a similar feeling.
You think about all of the people who are the family members of those who were in the plane. It's awful.
But there's at least one major difference between the ill-fated flight from Wichita, Kansas that collided with the Black Hawk helicopter and the one decades ago that originated in Florida.
I did go to sleep hopeful that there might be some survivors because I am older and I do remember this 1982 crash in which there were survivors.
Unfortunately, there weren't any survivors in the latest tragedy. 67 people killed between the 2 aircrafts Wednesday night.
It took me back 43 years practically.
Heathsville, Virginia resident Robert Pugh was a photojournalist who captured these images the morning after the 1982 incidents.
And I felt the obligation, like as a photographer, I felt the obligation to sort of try to capture what I could just in case it could be useful.
When thinking of the 2 disasters, Moser-Jones says it's important to consider the differences along with the similarities.
This was a military civilian disaster, whereas that other one was really about aviation safety.
And Dr. Moser-Jones adds she hopes the investigation into what happened Wednesday night will lead to preventions being put in place so this doesn't happen again. And those pictures Robert Pugh providing to us, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but in looking at those, I would say it's more of what I feel than what I could actually say.
And sometimes it's easier to see something than to actually put it into words.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, JB, those water temperatures were frigid. How long does it take for someone to develop hypothermia?
Okay, so in this accident right here, and of course this is Lenny Skutnik, and that's Priscilla Toronto that he's rescuing there. That's the guy from the Congressional Budget Office who dove into the river to help out. Water temperatures there, they'd had snow in D.C. Okay, the day before, that's one of the reasons why the plane crashed. It had ice on the wings and stuff. It wasn't de-iced pretty much well. So one of the things that happened with that was the water temperature about 34 degrees. That water temperature, hypothermia about 15 to 30 minutes. And then of the people who died, there was only one, Alden Williams, who actually drowned. The rest of the people in the plane were killed on impact. Titanic, when it sank, 28 degrees in the Atlantic. Now, compare this with the Miracle on the Hudson, which is the U.S. aircraft.
Right.
Captain Sully. One of the things that happened there, all the people there, as you look, they're all out on the wings. A couple of them just getting their feet wet. That's really just about it for them. None of them, going in and immersing in the waters. So as what we've got, as you can see in that area right there, that we've got this location where these people here, they just basically got their feet wet. That was it. They weren't immersed.
Wow. Well, to keep up with our continuing coverage on this crash, scan that QR code that you see right there on your screen, and be sure to also follow us on Facebook and Instagram as well.